Bicycle Smart Helmet Comparison. Today I will be comparing 4 smart helmets made for bicycles. Each has either integrated lights or integrated Bluetooth audio or both. Each has pros and cons, and at the end I'll rate each and explain where they are best. First is the Safe-Tec tier, which currently sells for between $129 and $99 and comes in 3 sizes and 3 matte color combinations. The matte finish hides dirt and looks great. This is an extremely well thought out, high quality helmet. It has 33 air vents for tremendous ventilation. For comparison, the tier has about 55% to 95% more vents than the other 3 helmets I'm reviewing. That means less heat, less sweat on those long rides. The Safe-Tec tier weighs 290 grams for the helmet and 25 grams for the remote, tying for first place as the lightest smart helmet. Some of its unique details are the German-made Fidlock magnetic closure, which is more secure, durable, faster, and more comfortable way to secure your chin strap. Its magnets mean as soon as you get the closure close, they snap together, and without any bending parts, they will never wear out over time or break. The tier also has unique mesh covers over the forward air vents that keep bees and other flying insects out of your hair with all that ventilation. The lower brim also has a molded polycarbonate shell to eliminate damage to the foam when you take the helmet off or put it down. This increases the longevity of your helmet. Nice extras include an extra set of padded liners, which are TRA Ultra Fresh antimicrobial fabric, and a soft helmet bag with drawstring to further protect your helmet from scratches. There are LED lights built into the front brim and rear of the helmet that are bright enough to catch driver attention in the day or night without looking gaudy. This is key as the lights are a major safety feature and the key advantage of this smart helmet over a traditional one. There is an included remote that straps to your handlebars and allows you to activate the turn signals that show the front and on the back of your helmet, indicating your turn direction. The remote doesn't look as pretty as the others in this comparison, but it's supremely easy to use while riding, as there's only 4 buttons and each is twice as large as the competitors' buttons. And they're fairly low, close to your handles, where you could activate them without looking or taking your hands off the bar. This is not a small factor, as you'll be using these buttons all the time when riding, so ergonomics make a real impact. The helmet automatically senses when you brake and stops the lights from flashing, acting as a brake light indicator. The batteries are rechargeable by micro USB and hold about 10 hours of charge. Another thoughtful feature is when you plug in the helmet, the LED lights all blink, signaling you are successfully charging. You'll know when the charging is complete from a distance as the lights all turn off. This is very useful as all the other helmets either don't have a light to indicate charging or have a tiny light that you have to be very close to in order to tell charging is complete. It's a time saver for a regular task. Safe-Tec also offers a unique crash credit. If you crash and damage your Safe-Tec helmet, just send them a picture and tell them what happened and they will give you a credit towards your replacement. Awesome! Now let's compare the Safe-Tec tier with the Lumos Smart Helmet, which currently sells for $200, comes in one size but in a wide choice of 5 colors. The Lumos has only 17 vents, which is average in this comparison. The Lumos weighs in at a whopping 445 grams though, which feels much heavier. You may think that only matters to weight weenies, but since the helmet is on your head, it means on longer rides you will have more neck strain, which makes you feel tired faster. For me, the single size fit well and felt comfortable, but it might feel too loose for small or medium-sized heads. One of the unique features of the Lumos is that the EPS foam is completely covered and protected by a polycarbonate shell everywhere visible. This looks fantastic and makes the Lumos very durable. No other helmet looks as well built as the Lumos because of this. The Lumos also has the smallest remote, which is super simple, as it only has 2 buttons that control the turn signals. The remote connects to your handlebars but is removable, though it is a bit of a pain to remove it when you're locking up your bike and don't want the remote to be damaged or stolen. The Lumos has more lights than any of the other helmets, almost too many lights, but it does lead to great day and nighttime visibility, and it's very clear to drivers where you are turning. The lights also have an auto braking feature that senses when you're stopping and intensify like a brake light on a car. The only downside to this feature is you have to have your phone connected by Bluetooth for this to work. So if you don't have your phone on your ride, you're not going to have that feature. The Lumos has an app with very good ratings on the app stores, but it's really only useful for looking at the battery life on your helmet, which is important as the Lumos battery is only good for 6 hours of continual use. This is 65% less than the other helmets in this comparison. Charging is by a custom magnetic plug that attaches in the rear. I like the idea of a magnet, but in practice it wasn't strong enough and the plug quickly unplugged when I accidentally brushed against it. Next we'll compare the Coros Lynx, which currently sells for $200 but was as low as $119 and can be had in medium and large sizes and your choice of 4 colors. Like the Lumos, it has 17 vents, a normal amount, but it will feel hotter on longer rides. The helmet had the least comfortable fit to me, even though it fit my head. The Lynx, like the Lumos, was a very heavy helmet, 420 grams, only 25 grams less than the Lumos. Again, this makes a difference on your neck on the longer rides and makes you feel tired faster. Unlike the Lumos, the Lynx has no extra polycarbonate shell protecting the brim of the helmet, which means it's much easier to scratch or chip the foam with your fingernails or when you put it down. The Lynx does include an extra set of liner pads and a soft helmet bag to protect your helmet, both of which are also offered by the tier, but not by any of the other helmets in this comparison. The Lynx does not have lights or turn signals to increase safety, but instead uses Bluetooth integrated speakers and a microphone to allow you to listen to music and take phone calls while still being able to hear ambient noises. There are 2 heavy speakers built into the straps meant to lay against your cheeks and conduct sound through your bones. This feels a little tickly at first, but it keeps your ears unplugged, which is very important, so you can still hear what's going on around you. There is only a moderate amount of sound bleed, so people standing next to you will be able to hear that you are listening to music, but not necessarily be able to listen into your phone conversation. You can control the volume, play, pause, and take calls from a handlebar remote that looks great, but has very small, closely spaced buttons that are more difficult to use when riding. Both the remote and the helmet charge with micro USB and have a 10-hour battery life. While charging, a small red light in the back of the helmet lets you know charging is happening and goes out when complete and turns green. My only gripe is that the USB port is covered with a rubber plug that also houses the power button. The problem with this is these rubber plugs are only connected by a small piece of very breakable rubber, and if it breaks, your power button then becomes harder to press. The strongest part of the Lynx is the feature-rich app, which has automated SOS texts that are sent out to your emergency contact if an impact of 1G or more is detected. A very cool feature is that this text has a 30-second delay, so you can cancel it on your phone if you're really okay after a small impact. If not, the text also has your GPS location that's automatically sent out to your emergency contact. The app also tracks your rides on a map and other ride data that allows you to share your ride routes and compete with friends. There is the option to create your route and then have the route speak out your turn-by-turn directions through the speakers. Unfortunately, this is not a very intuitive process. Google Maps would likely work better. Another downside is that the app is only rated 3.1 in the App Store, as many of the users complain that it kills your battery life really fast. Finally, let's look at the Livall Bling MT1, which currently sells for between $179 and $129 and can be had in 2 different sizes and 3 colors. It has 21 vents for better than average airflow and has a comfortable fit. It weighs in at 285 grams for the helmet and 30 grams for the remote, which is identical to the Safe-Tec tier and feels very light. I wanted to like this helmet the most because it offered not only the lights like the tier and the Lumos, but also the Bluetooth audio and phone connection like the Lynx. Unfortunately, while the Bling looks promising on paper, when actually experienced, it proved very disappointing. It does all things the other helmets do, but more poorly. First, let me say that I would use any of these helmets. They are a step up from a standard helmet, but I will rate each compared to the other at the end of the video. The Bling has built-in LED lights that allow you to signal using a handlebar remote, but the lights are only in the rear, and because they are under a translucent, colored, glossy polycarbonate shell, they're much dimmer than the other helmets with lights. At night, this won't be a problem, but it severely reduces visibility during the day, which is a shame as most people ride in the daytime. The lack of forward lights also negates the safety value of the helmet at night for anyone oncoming. There is a small amount of polycarbonate brim protection built into the front around the controls, which are inexplicably located under the brim of the helmet. The only reason I can think the designers put these controls here was to keep the microphone and the controls close so as not to have to run wiring throughout the helmet. Let me explain why this is a terrible idea. If I want to change the volume or use the function button while riding, I have to awkwardly grip the front of my helmet, obstructing my view. Come on, guys, not good. There is an included handlebar remote that looks really snazzy, but likewise is not designed to be very easy to use compared with the other remotes. The one good thing is that the remote pairs with the helmet very easily. The downside of the remote is that its buttons are the smallest and are elevated more than twice the height of any of the other remotes, making it impossible to use without removing your hands from the handlebars. It made it a pain to signal correctly, so I ended up using it less. The remote also has buttons for walkie-talkie and taking pictures, but neither was explained in the instructions, so I couldn't test them. I assume the walkie-talkie works like the Lynx and requires another Bling helmet user. Perhaps a photo feature will be developed in the app in the future. I'm not sure, but either way, currently it's a waste, which is too bad because this helmet has a lot of potential. Pairing your phone is fairly painless, and once paired, you can pause and play music by using either the square function button on the brim of your helmet or in the center of your remote, which is much easier. You can go forward or back tracks using the up and down buttons on the remote, while the side-to-side buttons control the turn signals. The downside to this is to stop your turn signal, you have to push the up or down button, which, if you're listening to music at the same time, goes back or forward in your playlist. It's frustrating and basically led me to stop using the turn signals altogether. The speakers are standard and work by being positioned right above your ear rather than the Lynx bone connection. Audio quality was okay, but everyone around you can hear your music and phone conversations whether you want them to or not. Like the Lynx, the Bling has an app with an SOS text alert function if you get into a crash. It also offers route tracking, but the app rating is only a 2.9 and there are many user complaints about the crashes of the app and lack of reliability. Battery time is published at 10 hours with lights or 3 to 6 hours with lights and music together. So here's how I came to my ratings for these 4 helmets. First of all, the Live All Bling MT1 got 4th place. This is great for those who want lights and Bluetooth audio and can overlook its many issues. I gave it a 4 for comfort, a 2 for ease of use, a 4 for quality, and a 5 for features. That gave it an overall score of 3.5 out of 5. Next is the Coros Lynx, which got 2nd place. This is best for daytime rides away from traffic, as it doesn't have the lights. I gave it a 3 for comfort, a 4 for ease of use, a 4 for quality, and a 5 for features. That gave it an overall score of 4 out of 5. 3rd place went to the Lumos. It was best for short city rides, day or night. I gave it a 3 for comfort, a 5 for ease of use, a 5 for quality, and a 2 for features. An overall score of 3.75 out of 5. Finally, the Safe-Tec tier came in 1st place. I gave it a 4 for comfort, a 5 for ease of use, a 5 for quality, and a 3 for features. That gave it an overall score of 4.25 out of 5. The tier is best for serious riders, longer distances, simplicity, comfort, and safety. Really, it does what it does well, and it's well thought out. That's why I gave it 1st place. But as I said before, all of these helmets are a big step up above a standard helmet. It's just a question of what's important to you. I hope this helps you pick the best smart helmet.